Good evening. It's a real honor to be speaking FEAT tonight. Thank you very much, Lisa. It's great to be closing. Project Code Red, how did it all start? I actually had to go over to England for a whole lot of business meetings and what have you, and I thought I'd throw in a couple of extra little adventures, and that's how it all started. And then I started researching it more, and the more I researched, the more I realized that maybe I could fit in doing the whole River Thames, and as soon as I started researching it more, I realized that no one had really done the official source to sea. A lot of people had done half, but hadn't done the beginning because there was no water. So I started researching it a lot, and the more I researched, the more I realized that the plan was to try and do the whole thing in like 4 days if possible. But I realized also that I had to do, part of it was a run, part of it was a cycle, and I'd broken a whole lot of wires on my knee just before I started. So X-ray said that I shouldn't do it, but I'm good at obeying doctor's orders, so I flew over, started it. This is me at the beginning of the Thames start, in the middle of these beautiful meadows with under an old ash tree. I followed the trace of the river until there was like a little bit of water. There was literally, the first 10 Ks was just absolutely super painful. The last 3 Ks just, I was like limping along, just trying to get to the end where I thought I'd just be able to get to my paddleboard, and then I wouldn't have to walk, I wouldn't have to do anything else, I'd just be able to paddle. And got to my paddleboard, did the changeover, thank God, put all my stuff on, all my hydration, my maps, my charts, GPSs, all my equipment, loaded it on the board, and started out down the river, which was literally only like that deep when I started. So I literally had to stand on the front of the board for the first like 5 to 10 Ks, pull my way through reeds, under trees, as long, whatever it took to be able to get through the first 5 Ks. And as soon as it started opening up, then I started to get headwinds, and that just became a whole kettle of fish, because you got all this wind coming up in your face, and it just slows things down dramatically. And on the front of the paddleboard, going through trees, going under everything you can possibly imagine, it was really slow going. But paddling in the evenings at night, I didn't see anybody, and it was just so beautiful and so surreal. And then I hit all the different locks, and all the research that I did didn't really prepare me for not being a powered craft. I only found out after the first 3 locks that because I was an unpowered craft, I wasn't allowed through the locks, so I had to carry all my equipment up and over through every single lock, which was fine until there were 42 locks. So it was a bit of a problem. So I was literally going through the night. I was paddling like 23 hours, sleeping for 45 minutes until I woke up completely hypothermic. The only way to be able to actually carry on going was to be able to get out on board, carry on going, bring up my core temperature, and then just carry on through the night, through the day, through the next day. But there were some magic moments. I'd be surrounded, especially in the first day and a half, by just the most beautiful surroundings, mongoose, foxes, cattle, geese, swans, you name it, I saw it all, because there were no boats in the first day and a half, because my draft was only about that deep for my paddleboard, so there was no one around, and I'd paddle for like literally a day and a half without seeing anyone else. And you got these magic moments where you've got like a reflection on the water of the river. There's no one else around. It's just so dead calm, quiet, and just absolutely stunning. And it just made me appreciate the little gems of being on that river. And it was only till when I got to like Henley and around that area where you start getting these mansions and all these boats and everything else. I ended up paddling past Windsor Castle at like 1 o'clock in the morning, getting pulled over by people at Windsor Castle. Hey, what are you doing? They're having a little nightcap, and I swear to God, it could have been the Queen, it could have been Prince Harry. I still actually don't know, because I was hallucinating. I was so tired. And a couple of little chill times. I managed to get 2 little swims in while I was cruising. That's half the reason probably why I got diarrhea. And I lost like 5.5 kilograms in 4 days. So anybody who wants to try the Atkins diet, come on my diet, the Project Code Red diet. And ended up getting to the Teddington lock, where the last 3 locks, which was tidal. So I had to paddle the last 3 locks to Putney Bridge, which was against a 5 knots of current, which was super, super difficult. But managed to end up getting to Putney Bridge, finishing, and that's when I thought like the easy part was going to come. The last 40 Ks cycle, and I was like, oh, this is a breeze. Wrong. Within the first like 5 Ks, I got a puncture. I was like, oh, don't worry, I got a repair kit. Got another puncture. Then put the puncture kit together, 5 Ks down, got another puncture. Then I was so frustrated by like 10 o'clock at night, I rented a Boris bike off the side of the road Eventually called it quits at about 1 o'clock in the morning, got some sleep, restarted at the Putney Bridge again the next day and completed it. Got to the end of the Thames barrier, as you can see, popped a bottle of champagne. I was like, woo! But I hadn't actually thought about what after that. So I hadn't got a support crew to take me back. So I had to ride back to where my car was, 40 Ks, after I just completed the whole thing. And as I got to my car, 40 Ks later, after just completing the whole thing, I was just putting my bike in the car and I get this like notification on my phone, preparation for channel crossing. I was like, holy shit. And this is a problem because I thought I was going to have like a day and a half prep, but it took a day and a half longer. So ended up driving to Dover, sleeping over for 3 hours there, jumping on my board the next morning, doing the channel crossing, started the next morning, went out 38 Ks without like literally no recovery, no sleep, no nothing. Started going over, got like headwinds, crosswinds, side winds, huge chop, we got fog, we got everything you can possibly imagine. Like the preparation and like planning for this was sort of went out the window. And yeah, I mean, it looks all calm and everything else. It's like the most hectic shipping lane on the planet. Like every ship that crossed, I'd get the Coast Guard going, oh, you have to stop, you're not allowed to go any further. I'm looking at the time, I'm going, oh my God, there's no way I'm going to make this record anymore. But at the end of the day, I smashed the record by 12 minutes. And at the end of the day, yeah, you know, we had everything you could possibly throw at me that day. And, you know, sometimes I guess you never know unless you try. And, you know, there are always going to be obstacles that are going to come your way. There are always going to be things that are going to step in your path. And I ended up literally going back, putting my paddleboard on the car, driving down 6 hours down the coast for business meetings. I had 3 business meetings, got back in my car, drove 7 hours back up to London Heathrow, flew out, went straight back home, arrived back in Cape Town, did a workshop, and it just goes to show that you can do anything you want if you really, truly believe it, and nothing's impossible unless you believe it. Thank you very much. Great to be here tonight.